Plasticity. This game is called Plasticity, and it was made for PC Windows. The time played is around 20 minutes. But there are actually two paths, so to do both paths, it's around 40-45 minutes. The number of players is single player, and the audience is males and females of ages 10 and up who enjoy puzzles or games about helping the environment. The playstyle, the minor one, is Achiever, since you have to do well to get further in the game, but more so Explorer, since the game is very cinematic and is teaching about the environment. There's also a lot of world interacting, which is very Explorer. The genre is a puzzle platformer, and the theme is environment, pollution, and littering. The objectives and goals for the player is help the environment and figure out the mini puzzles to progress in the game. The design goals were probably easy and teaching or compelling. So for easy, the simple controls make it easy to pick up and play for a lot of people, and that helps with the teaching and the compellingness of the story by trying to bring awareness to as many people as possible that our planet is being mistreated and that we should be able to help in any way that we can. As for if the designer met their goals or not, I would say mostly yes to both. For easy, there were only about 4 buttons to push, and almost everything interactable is red or green, so it's easy to spot, and the puzzles are simple. There are some bugs, though, that make it harder or longer to accomplish some of them, but overall I believe they succeeded. As for teaching and compelling, also mostly yes, because it has an emotional story tied to it. However, a lot of negative reviews about the game say that they shouldn't have just focused on what an individual can do to help the Earth, but also teach about the bigger companies that they are polluting it and try and change their policies. As for the core of the game, interacting with the objects, whether it's dragging a box to get to the next part of the level or helping with the animals in the world, like the bucket that was on the dog's head, most of the interactions have to do with recycling or cleaning the environment. As for resources, there really aren't that many in this game. There's no inventory or resource management. The only objects that seem important to interact with are the red bottles that can be thrown away, and that's valuable because it lets you move on to the next part of the game. If you don't throw away the red bottles, you get the bad ending of the game. As for the sequencing structure, it is very linear. You can only move the story in one direction with no branches or choices. Like if I turn back around, I wouldn't be able to go back through the house. I can only go forward. As to the mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetics of the game, you can only move left, right, jump, climb, and interact with objects. Interacting with the objects add on a puzzle-solving dynamic. So most of the interactable objects or boxes or levers have to be pushed or pulled to get further in the game or story. And some interactions, however, are just to make the player feel like they're helping or make them want to help. That's where the aesthetic comes in. The dog with the bucket stuck on its head or the bird stuck on their net that you'll see soon, they purposely pull at your heartstrings and try and compel the players to help clean the environment, and so that hopefully they'll do so in real life. Since the game isn't flawless, though, with its controls, it's also frustrating at times, but I'll talk more about that in a bit when I talk about stuff I would rather change. As for any exploitable strategies, like the first order optimal strategies, you could probably run through the game without interacting with anything except the boxes to, make it through the level. But it isn't the best because I don't think it would let you continue. You'd get the bad ending. But a second one would probably just be to touch everything that looks interactable, and the game will achieve the good ending for you. Is the game well balanced? I'd say yes, because as you can see, so far everything's really easy to solve. The puzzles are solvable. It gives as much time as I need. There's no time constraint, and it's mostly story-based. Changes that I'd make about the game? I would definitely say what would make it easier would definitely be fixing these bugs that I'm running into. Because this character almost seems to, stick to everything. And sometimes it's really hard to use the ladders. Like, I struggle with the ladders a lot. As for objects or values I would change, this is probably for the simplicity of the game, but the only object I can like pick up and throw away are cans and bottles. So maybe adding like a net to the sailboat, or being able to pick up other pieces of trash would make the game better. So maybe at the end there's some sort of counter telling how many pieces of trash the player picked up. As for the general changes I'd recommend is, while I understood that the message they were trying to portray is, you know, like every individual can help, I also feel like it fell kind of flat, that I don't think it's entirely up to individuals, and it's not entirely individuals' faults. There was no talking of companies, there was no talk of, for example, alternative materials other than plastic to use. It was very focused on just not littering, which is not the full picture at all. So now I'm older and I went back to where I was as a kid. And since I had thrown away all the litter and gotten all the pollution out of the water, as you can see, there's a farm. And everything's flourishing. So this is the good ending. This is the bad ending. So everything's flooded. There's no flourishment. Everything's still dirty.